Okay, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to DuePoint. Welcome to everyone who's tuned in around the country on our live stream. My name's Rob van der Bijl. I'm one of the executives here at DuePoint. I'm going to be spending the next better late than never. I'm going to be spending the next 45 to 60 minutes with you. We're going to go through what DuePoint's all about, who we are, and then after the presentation, you're welcome to ask me any questions. So before we get going, I want to remind all the wealth engineers about the spring campaign that we launched a couple of weeks ago. That's why there's that little flower on our title slide. A reminder that we have 83 days left of spring, and we want to see our wealth engineers do their best during spring, right? Spring's the season of change, and we want to see that change occur in your lives. Okay, so let's begin. You're at DuePoint's head office. We're a division of another company called Constantia Insurance Company Limited. Constantia was founded in 1952. They're a registered insurance company. We are a registered insurance company in South Africa. That's their building in the background, their little orange logo. You might recognize it or not. The FSP number that we operate under is that one that you see over there. In the foyer above the water cooler, you'll notice we've got all these certificates up on the wall. Those are FSP licenses. So we've got a long and short-term insurance license. We've got an investment license. We've got our FSP license on display. We've got our accreditation with the direct selling and the direct marketing associations. As you can see, we take credibility very seriously. Obviously, when we propose any partnership, it's fundamental for our guests to trust the business that we're going to be proposing the partnership with, right? You need to trust and find the business credible that we're going to be discussing this morning. This is the management and the executive team here at DuePoint. The three characters on the far left are all registered chartered accountants, starting with Brendan Benfield. He's got a lot of experience in financial services, particularly in insurance, because his family have been entrenched in insurance for all his life. His father's a professor of insurance, taught at Wits for 25 years. His father founded Clientele Life, amongst other host of businesses around the world that have been fairly successful. Brendan and his brother Stuart, they used to get insurance policies as birthday presents when they were growing up. So at the age of 3, you get an insurance policy. Isn't that great? Not really, eh? You can see why he became an accountant. So Brendan and his brother Stuart, they followed in their father's footsteps, and they went on to found a business down the road called PMD, Prime Meridian Direct, and we know that business because they do advertising on a daily basis in all different various forms. And I think PMD is now the 4th biggest short-term insurer in the country, so they've had a lot of success. Very lucky to have Brendan leading this division. Tim Reynolds got a lot of experience in corporate banking. He was with the First Rand Group for about 15 years, fairly senior position there. He reported directly to the Board of Executives. Stacey supports Tim in the accounting and the auditing and the regulatory aspects of our business. She's got a lot of experience in auditing. She's been with Deloitte all her working career. In South Africa as well as overseas. She worked for a while before she came back to South Africa and joined the team here. And then Jane and myself, we're the non-accountants in the business. Jane's got a lot of experience in direct marketing or direct selling. She's from the UK, so she brings a lot of that international experience to our business, because even though we're an insurance company, our growth is predicated on our ability to be effective in terms of network marketing or direct selling or direct marketing, whatever you want to call that. And Jane brings all of that experience to our business. And then myself, I've been working in marketing and advertising most of my working career. I started my own company in the mid-90s, late 90s, 97, and ran that business for about 17 years. It was a digital agency, so we took advantage of the big internet boom in those days. Internet was very new in the 90s, and we ran that business fairly successfully. Like I said, we didn't retrench anybody. We paid everyone salaries for 20 years, so I can deem the business to be fairly successful, right, if we haven't retrenched anyone. And I'll touch on why I exited that business a little later on in the presentation. So these are the managers and the executives here at DuePoint. Our mandate is to support the people that join us in this partnership. We want to partner with you. We want to see you effective. We want to see you become successful. Again, if you look at any partnership, you want to know that you're collaborating with your partners, right? That you're working towards a similar goal. And I think that's very important when you consider partnering with any business. Okay, so that's a little bit of background on the business and us. At this stage of the presentation, we discuss some of the driving factors of why people would be here on a Saturday morning, because I imagine there are way better things to do on a Saturday morning than come and listen to this guy giving a business presentation. Right? Or no? You don't have anything better to do? And now I feel sad for all of you. Right? Of course, there are much better things to do on a Saturday morning, but we find ourselves here, right? Because the person that spoke to us, that invited us here, said, well, there's this financial opportunity, and you were interested in that. And the driving factors are, why are you interested in a financial opportunity that clearly is going to take extra time in your life to do? And unfortunately, these driving factors are all negative, right? Because if employment was the answer to all our issues, you wouldn't be here. If you got the salary that you got and you got the raise every year that was greater than inflation, and you had money left over at the end of every month and your retirement was looking rosy, you wouldn't be here. You'd still be sitting in bed telling the kids to shush. That's what I do. I keep telling my daughter, shush, go play in the other room. I'm trying to sleep. Right? But we find ourselves here. So some of the driving factors that we discuss, I'm going to go over them briefly. Because someone said to me, you don't have to remind us of the pain that we're experiencing. So we'll go over them very quickly, right? Number one is the economy. The economy, we've got no control over. It affects us in a plethora of different ways. Number one, unemployment, retrenchment. 9.3 million people unemployed in our country, and the number is rising. When we are so desperate to have an economy that is growing, we actually have an economy that's shrinking. And so that number is going to become worse. And it affects us directly because now the job market becomes so competitive, we're fighting each other for jobs. Number two, we see it in the fact of inflation sitting at about 7%, food inflation sitting at 11%. That means food's doubling in price every 8 years. Isn't that frightening? I had someone come up to me and say, I swear I bought the same groceries this week, and then next week they went from 40 Rand to 60 Rand in a week. So we have all these things that we have to deal with. We have the fact that because companies are not thriving in an economy like ours, we don't get the raise every year that's in line with inflation. So I always ask the audience, did anyone in the last 7 years get a 7% increase every year in their salary to keep up with the cost of living? No one puts their hand up. No one. Usually I've got one person, but when I ask that question, no one puts their hand up, right? And the fact of the matter is that your salary and the cost of living, there's this gap that's being created, and the gap is getting bigger, right? And so we saw all these factors that play out directly in our lives, and it is exacerbated by debt, because what we try to do is we try to use debt to band-aid over this gap that's forming between the cost of living and our salary. We see it in all the statistics that we get from the FSB, and the statistics are actually frightening. 50% of South Africans are under debt review. You know what debt review means? It means you haven't paid your bills for more than 3 months in a row. That's 50% of the population. It is absolutely frightening, right? And so South Africans will engage in all these different debt instruments. You can do anything in debt, right? You can, home loan, that seems like a fine one. Car loan, you can't buy car cash, so car loan is also fine, right? But then we start getting into the other things, credit cards. Credit cards, revolving credit. That's the frightening thing. You never pay the credit card off. At least with a house, you know, after 20 years, you pay the house off. With a credit card, you stay in that cycle forever, right? Personal loans. What's the interest rate on personal loans? 20%, 25%. Micro loans, 30, 40%, 50%. You can buy things on hire purchase. You can even buy food on hire purchase. That's got to feel bad if you're paying today for food you ate last year. It's already gone down the toilet, hey? And you still got to pay for it. And so we engage in all these different debt instruments. But unfortunately, it's crippling, because what we don't realize is that it hampers our personal finance in the future, right? And we start to realize this. Have you started to realize this the older you get? Maybe the 20-year-olds don't realize it so much. But when you get to 40 and maybe 50, you think, I can't get out of this. I can't get out of this debt cycle. And I've only got 10 or 20 years left before I retire, right? So we've got a lovely slide that illustrates what retirement planning looks like. So this was actually published on the Fin24 website last year, not our data. This was an article written. The article was talking around the fact that the mortality rate is increasing, which means people are living longer. So if you're living longer, your retirement planning needs to adjust accordingly, right? Because today, if you went to see a financial advisor, let's say 10, 20 years ago, you would have said, oh, you probably die at about 75. So you only have to save for 15 years of retirement. But now, today, we're living to 90, right? So now your financial advisor says, oh, you've got to save enough to last you for 30 years. So this is what the data is based on. So we've got 3 columns over here. The column is headed with a figure. The figure at the top is an income that you would derive if you had an investment in place. Right? So this is retirement planning, because the retirement planner will say, well, we're going to get you to have saved R1 million, and then the R1 million is going to pay you out 5,000 Rand a month for the next 30 years. And that 5,000 Rand a month will eat into the capital amount, which is the R1 million. So the R1 million will run out by the time you're 90. So you can't live to 91, because then you're going to starve to death. Right? This is the beauty of retirement planning. So I'm going to ask you 2 questions based on these numbers. And I'm going to give you a little clue. I'm going to give you a hint. I'm going to tell you that you can't say yes or you can't say no to both questions. Right? So I'm going to ask you 2 questions. You can't say no to both questions. Okay. Are you ready? The first question is, who can survive on 5,000 Rand a month once they're retired? Everyone saying no? Now you set yourselves up. You're in a corner now. You ready for the second question? Who is actively saving towards R1 million at the moment? There's always one. There's one person usually. One person usually, and that's it. And that's what the figures tell us. The statistics that we get back from the FSB say 2% of South Africans will retire financially independent. Not that R1 million is financially independent. I mean, imagine that you've got R1 million investment sitting there. Cash investment, R1 million, knowing that it's only going to be able to pay you out 5,000 Rand a month that you can hardly survive on. What are you going to want to do with that R1 million? You're not going to let it just pay you out 5,000 Rand. You're probably going to go, let's just go big. We go big. See what happens. All right? Way more dignified income, 26,000 Rand a month. But you have to have saved 5 million Rand. You need 5 million Rand in cash investment by the time you retire to pay yourself out 26,000 Rand a month. If you're under the age of 25, you've got time on your side. You don't realize the gift you're blessed with. So take this information with you, right? If you are 25, you have time to do this, to be in this position. Once you're my age, at 40, you're at this point, I promise you, your salary is not going to get you to a point in retirement that looks good. It's just too late. Because to get to 5 million Rand, you need to save 4,000 Rand a month for 40 years. Right? And that's how you get there. That's how you get there. This is retirement planning. If you go sit with a financial advisor, this is what he's going to say to you. He's going to say to you, how old are you? When do you think you're going to retire? 60, 65? He'll work out how many years you have of work left. Then he'll say to you, how much money do you need to get by once you retire? How much money, how much income do you need every month to get by once you retire? And then you think, oh, well, maybe I've paid my house off. Maybe the kids are out the house, I'm not supporting them, so maybe it's a little bit less than what I'm dealing with now. And then he'll work it out. He'll say, well, this is how much money you have to save every month so that you're in that position. Unfortunately, in an economy like ours, when your salary is devaluing every year, because the cost of living sitting at 7% and you not getting the 7% raise every single year, your salary is getting further and further and further apart from the cost of living. Where do you have the luxury to save for? You are just trying to survive every month. And this is, we find, the circumstance of most South Africans, right? So out of all of this negativity, these driving factors that have led you to this presentation this morning, out of that negativity, us as a business, as an enterprise, we saw an opportunity to create a business, a division, a platform that the average South African can engage in to change the circumstance, to change their future. Because employment's not going to do it for you if you haven't realized that. Right? So the DuePoint system was designed with 3 goals in mind for the wealth engineer. So that's what we call the people that partner with us, wealth engineers. We've got 3 aspirations for them. The first aspiration is to see you become debt-free as quickly as possible. What does that look like? Can I tell you what that looks like? To be debt-free. Okay, picture this. The end of the month comes. It's usually around the 25th. It's usually the Friday at the end of the month. And you get that little SMS, the nice one. You know which one? Ding, ding. Salary. I got money again. Right? Now you're happy for about 3 minutes. You're happy for 3 minutes. Because suddenly the phone goes crazy. Your phone goes crazy. Ding, 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 ding. You think, what's going on? Emergency. You look at your phone. It's your debit orders. And your debit orders just keep going. And you're praying that your money doesn't run out. You're looking, right? That's what we all deal with at the moment. When you are debt-free, right? You've had success at DuePoint and you get yourself into a position where you're debt-free. You get one SMS from your employer saying salary. You get a second SMS from DuePoint saying we paid your return this month. And that's it. No more debit orders. The car you drive in, you paid off a few years ago. The house you live in, you've paid off already. No debit orders. You're one of those parents that pay for their kids' education a year up front. You know, on the form at school, they've always got that option. Pay annually. You think, who pays annually? Month to month. I want you to be one of those parents that pay annually. You say, yeah, I've paid for the kids' school fees a year up front. That's what debt-free looks like. Think about what that feels like. So that's our first aspiration. When you get into that position, when you achieve goal 1 of becoming debt-free, you can now focus on our second aspiration for our wealth engineers. And that is one where we want to see our wealth engineers start creating value in assets and investments. Right? Because that's where wealth is created. Paying bills and paying the cost of living doesn't amount to wealth, ever. Right? You see those bumper stickers. I'm not here to pay bills and die. What is it? Something like that. I'm not here to pay bills and die. That's what life is all about at the moment, right? So if you get to becoming debt-free, you can now start focusing on creating value in assets and investments. And then aspiration 3, goal number 3, happens on its own. It's about happiness. That's why you're here this morning. You had a little bit of hope in your heart that you would hear something today that could potentially change your circumstance and lead to happiness. You don't want to be stressed at the end of every month. You don't want to be worried about your retirement. You don't want to be the person that's stressed in January, right? Are we all stressed in January? Yes. School fees, school uniform, stationery. You're thinking, what is my school fees paying for? All these other extra things I have to pay for, right? I've just had a second financial burden. So now I've got 2 financial burdens at home. And they take about 25 years to get out the house. Kids are expensive. School fees. What's the cost of creche? These private school creches. Have you seen the price of them? I think for a 2-year-old, it's about 3,500, 4,000 rand a month. 40, 50,000 rand a year. That's more than Wits. Right? When my wife said how much the creche cost me with our first kid, I said, we're sending the kids straight to Wits. Straight to Wits. Why pay these ridiculous prices? Private school matric is 12,000 rand a month. And parents are desperate to send their kids to better schools. Why are we so desperate to send our kids to better schools? You want to know why? Because the job market is so competitive, you're worried your kid's going to be one of those that don't get a job. If everyone had jobs in this country, do you think you'd be stressing about education? No, you know your kid will get a job. But now we are all paranoid. We've become neurotic around education. There are now schools being listed on the Joburg Stock Exchange. That's how lucrative education's become in South Africa. MBAs. Have you seen the amount of MBAs being advertised on the radio now? Right? People are neurotic about education, about trying to get ahead of everybody else. So those are 3 aspirations. Our guests this morning, you have the opportunity to join DuePoint. You contract with us, and when you contract with us, we'll call you wealth engineers, and as wealth engineers, we only expect one thing from our wealth engineers, and that is for you to go out and build what we call channels of distribution. And I'll show you what a channel of distribution looks like, right? But it's basically you just introducing people to DuePoint, and through our online platform, we'll attempt to place product with those people you introduce to us. That's how our business works. It's as simple as that. The benefit for you is that you get to create additional income. This is obvious. This is why you wouldn't be sitting here. If I said to you, we don't create any additional income, I think everyone would leave, right? Yeah. Number 1 benefit, extra income. This is how you pay your debt off faster. The nature of the income that you produce, this is very important, is one of recurring nature. So this is inherent of insurance companies. Insurance companies called something called the book. We build something called the book, which means all the clients that we have. And the book pays us a recurring income because we know we're going to debit order this book every single month. I don't have to go chase the client every month. I chase the client once, they pay for 1 year to 20 years. That is recurring income. That's what you get to partake in, is the recurring income. You're going to be building an asset in this business that'll pay you out a recurring income. You get to harness the power of duplication. This is leverage, right? This is how the CEO makes the most amount of money in the business. Because us as employees, we're working for the boss, right? All of us. The boss has got the same amount of hours in the day, but why is he getting paid so much more? Because he's leveraging the entire company that's working for him. You get to do a similar thing in this business, right? So this channel of distribution that you're building is actually your ability to go out and build a team that will collaborate with you and invest time into building your asset. And if you're effective at that, you will get to harness the power of duplication. So if you're limited with your time, that is not a restricting factor. It's not a restricting factor. You can build a massive asset in this business, just one person on their own, but collaborating with many. This is a flexi-time business. Do not make the mistake of thinking you can do this business and be successful at it if you're going to treat it like a New Year's resolution. We are not trying to lose weight here. We are not trying to quit smoking. We are trying to save our lives. Save our lives. This is what we're talking about. Money might not be everything in life, but it's about 95% of it, unfortunately, right? You can move to Russia. Their money's for free. Everyone gets the same amount. Used to. Yeah, we have to work for it. You have to earn it. And if you can't depend on employment, you have to depend on yourself. If you can't depend on the economy, you have to depend on yourself. So I'm saying to you, at the end of this presentation, if you're convinced that this is something that you want to get involved in and be successful at, you need to schedule this business into your life routinely. You need to decide at the end of this morning, right, where does DuePoint fit in my life? Is this something I'm going to be doing every Saturday morning, the whole of Saturday? Is it Saturday and Sunday? Is it every night of the week that I commit to this business? Is it Mondays and Thursdays? It doesn't matter what it looks like as long as you are committed to the routine of it. That's just a tip. Don't force anyone in this business. That's just a tip. There's no startup capital in this business. We don't ask you for registration fees to get involved in this business. There's no boxes of product that you have to buy to get involved in this business. We make it as low risk as possible, right? So it becomes accessible to the average South African. There's no qualifications or experience required. This is notable because we work in financial services. We are regulated by the FASE Act and the FSB and a host of other bodies, which is very onerous and painful. You don't have to worry about any of that. You can enjoy the benefits of being involved in financial services without that obligation. You get to build an asset. Now, this is probably one of the most important benefits on this slide, is that you get to build an asset that you have ownership over. This flies in the face of employment because we will spend our lives. You will spend 40, 45 years working for someone else, building someone else's asset. And what do you have to look forward to at the end of it? Retirement. If you're lucky, R1 million in the bank, 5,000 Rand a month in your final days. Right? That's not a great outlook. In this business, the time that you invest into it and you sacrifice for this business is into an asset that you're building that you have ownership over. You can sell the asset one day. You can give it to your kids to carry on. You can see that your beneficiaries if something happens to you. You can move it into a family trust. You have options. It's legal tender. It's a legal asset that you're building, right, that you own. There's no selling involved in this business. Now, that might have confused a few people. Who got confused when the person that invited them said there's no selling involved? You thought, what is he talking about? There's no selling involved. How can we not sell anything? What are we doing in this business? All you're going to be doing is telling people about the business opportunity. You're not going to be speaking about our products. You're not going to be selling our products. You're not going to be giving people advice about our products. You're going to merely tell people that a financial opportunity exists, an entrepreneurial opportunity that exists that doesn't involve selling, right? Income opportunity is probably the most attractive commodity in South Africa today, especially in our economy. People don't want to hear about products. They want to hear about how can I make money. That's what you're going to go spread the word about. This is how you make money. The nature of our products are financial of nature. which means they are intangible. We don't have stock and distribution issues. If you brought your uncle's Bucky expecting to take home lots of, I don't know, multivitamins or milkshakes or whatever, you're not going to. You're not going to. You're not going to leave with anything in your hand today. So we make this business as convenient as possible for our people to get involved in. But this is all predicated on your success in being able to build your channel of distribution. So this is what a channel of distribution looks like. It begins with you. You're going to go out and speak to people and tell them about the DuePoint opportunity. If you're successful in that, and these people come and look at a presentation, they eventually join DuePoint, and they take out one of our products, that is the beginning of your channel of distribution. These people that have become wealth engineers under you are going to go out and do exactly the same thing. They're going to go tell people about the business opportunity. They are building their own channels. They are also wanting to set themselves apart from the 98% that are going to retire financially dependent. And so you have this organic growth that takes place in your channel. This is all your business. Every single dot on the screen you're getting paid for every single month. This is the power of duplication. This is leverage. Because this whole business exists based on your effort of bringing 5 people into the business, potentially. We had someone that joined in KZN last year in October. KZN was on fire in October last year. Went crazy. Crazy for DuePoint. The one lady, in a week, she put in 5 people into the business. Regina, go look at her testimony. She put in 5 people, and suddenly her channel had 200 in it. And she didn't know how it happened. She thought there was some voodoo involved. Right? This is leverage. This is the power of duplication. If you can find very effective people to come into your channel, that'll filter down into your business. And this is what a sustainable business could look like. We want you to be in the position one day, let's say 3 or 5 years' time, where you're able to go on 3 months holiday. And this business doesn't disappear. It stays here, right? It's recurring income. This is what recurring income is all about. And while you're sitting on the beach, DuePoint is paying you every single month while you're sitting on the beach. Wouldn't that be great? That is the point of building an asset, folks. The point of building an asset is not that you have to look after it 24/7. The point of building an asset is that you can build it and then relax. Relax. When you get to retirement, you can sit back and go, this is what I've built. It runs on its own. It pays me every single month. My father calls it making money while you're sleeping. You want to make money while you're sleeping, right? This is the difference between employment and entrepreneurship. We're all in the employment box. Lots of detractors to employment. Might feel safe, might pay the bills, that's great. But beyond that, not much. So this is what a channel of distribution looks like. That's what you're going to be doing. I have a disclaimer slide. You'll be forgiven once for thinking that you've been invited to one of these schemes. Anyone been to a scheme presentation? Hey? When I was a lot younger, in my early 20s, I got pulled into a proper pyramid scheme. I didn't get involved though, but I saw the presentation. They were literally like, you put 5,000 Rand in this account, you bring us 4 people, we're going to pay you 10,000 Rand next week. That's how blatant it was. This was like the early 90s, right? Didn't get involved, fortunately. That's the way you lose money. You want to lose lots of money? Pyramid schemes. We are not one of those. We are listed on the Joburg Stock Exchange under a company called Conduit Capital. We are 70 years old. We are a regulated insurance company in South Africa. There's only about a dozen insurance companies in South Africa. These companies like Prime Meridian, those aren't insurance companies. You realize that? They're FSPs being underwritten by insurance companies. Constantia is a full-blown insurance company. Do you think we would risk a 70-year-old business trying to run a pyramid scheme? Certainly not. We are not one of them. So that's the only time I'm going to forgive you for ever thinking that we win. The second thing is we'll never promise you success quickly in this business. I've started a number of businesses, most of which have failed. 1 or 2 that have been successful. And if you've ever had the chance to try to start and run your own business and try and make a success of it, you'll realize how difficult it is. It is difficult. You put in money, time, you lose relationships over that stuff, right? If you appreciate what it takes to make a business successful, you need to have that same appreciation for this business. This is not a hobby that we're talking about. This is an opportunity for you to start a business, to start building your own asset. It requires long-term vision, not short-term expectation. Short-term expectation is when you work 40 hours a week and you expect a salary at the end of the month. Entrepreneurship is having long-term vision and willing to do the hard yards at the beginning to start seeing the fruits of your labor. Because if you have short-term expectation, I promise you, you're going to get frustrated. This is a frustrating business. Speak to any of the wealth engineers that have been here for a while. It is a frustrating business. We are dealing with people constantly. I can hardly get on with my own immediate family. How must I get on with my entire channel? Right? If you're willing to deal with that frustration and the hardship of business, the upside of entrepreneurship is just awesome. It is awesome. It is about freedom, taking control of your income, having a great retirement, becoming debt-free, getting only 2 SMSs from the bank, not 20. Right? Is that what we want? You're willing to put in those hard yards at the beginning? I don't take complaints in the first year. Not allowed to complain in the first year. Once you've done a year of this business, then you can come complain and say, help me. So that's my disclaimer slide. How do we pay our wealth engineers? So there are 2 ways to benefit as a wealth engineer. The one is through the returns program. The second way is through a rewards program. So the returns program is how we pay wealth engineers at the end of every month based on how much product they have in the channel, right? So this is the returns program. This is what we pay our wealth engineers at the end of every month. We pay a base return fee of 27.50 Rand for every product that you have in your channel. But that's dependent on where the product lies. So remember the first 5 people you introduced to the business successfully? Those people lie on point 1. They are 1 point away from you, and on point 1 we actually pay you double the 27.50 Rand. So we pay you 55 Rand for every product. Remember, it's recurring income every month going forward. On point 2, these are friends of friends, right? 2 people, 2 points away from you. Again, we pay you 55 Rand. Then on point 3, it drops 27.50 Rand again, and it keeps dropping all the way down to point 8. So at point 8, it's now paying you out 4% of 27.50 Rand. But what we don't do is we don't limit you in this business. So at point 8, you could be here for 10, 20 years, 30 years. Your business is going to grow well beyond point 8. We don't stop paying you at point 8. From point 8 into infinity, in theory, we will keep paying you the 4% of the 27.50 Rand. We don't limit you on how much you can earn in this business or how big your channel can get in this business. The accountability lies with you. How big do you want to build this? How much do you want? How much do you need? How much time are you going to sacrifice into this to make it work? So this is the mechanics of the returns. The next question you get is, well, how much money do people earn in this business? Give me some idea. 55 Rand is great per product, but how much do we earn in a business like this? So this will give you an idea. We call this the path to success. It is based on a growth formula. So the accountants came up with this projection. They said, well, if a new wealth engineer can come into this business and add 3 people into the business in the first month, right? And then every month thereafter, just 2. 2 new people every consecutive month thereafter. So we call it the 3+2 growth formula, because you're going to do 3 in September, 2 in October, 2 in November, 2 in December, 2 in January, 2 in perpetuity. If you can do that, you can expect to earn these numbers. 2,500 Rand after 6 months. Everyone's thinking, Baba, that number better get bigger. Hey? Are you thinking that? Yes. Why? Why is 2,500 Rand not enough? Let me give you some context to the value of money. Because what we do, we make the mistake, and I make the mistake many times a day. I look at money in terms of what I can buy, what I can spend my money on. You say you got 2,500 Rand, I think, oh, I can get those new Nikes. I say, oh, I can give you 30,000 Rand a month. I go, oh, I can buy a new Porsche. All right, this is how we think. We think like consumers. But let me give you context, because when you get into entrepreneurship, when you start looking at investing, when you start looking long-term at your retirement, future value, building assets, creating recurring income, you need to stop thinking like a consumer. You need to start thinking about the real value of money, okay? Because 2,500 Rand of recurring income will do this for you. If you have a R1 million bond, you owe the bank R1 million. You're my age, and you take out a bond now, I'm only going to become a homeowner when I'm 60. I'll make my final bond payment when I'm 60 years old. For the first time, I become a homeowner. I've paid back the bank 2.5 times the value of my house. Right? But at the age of 40, I go to a presentation, a DuePoint presentation. Some Lunga on the stage telling me what to do with my money. Don't buy Nikes. Do the boring thing and pay your debt off quickly. And I listen to him. I go, okay, let's try this. So I take the 2,500 rand, I put it in as an additional payment into my bond. The net effect of that little 2,500 rand every month going into your bond is going to drop your bond term from 20 years to 11.5 years. I'll become a homeowner at 51, not 60. So, do you know how much money that saved me in repayments to the bank? 1 million rand. I've just saved myself 1 million rand in repayments. Isn't that crazy? The whole house cost 1 million rand. You're telling me 2,500 rand is going to save me 1 million rand. It does. It saves you 1 million rand in repayments. I now have 14,000 rand extra that I can start investing into an investment or some retirement annuity for the next 9 years. That's the difference that 2,500 rand makes. You go another 6 months, you're on 108,000 rand annually of recurring income. Keep going. I can see you want to see bigger numbers. 30,000 rand after about 24 months. That sound better? How many cost of living items can you tick off with 30,000 rand? 30,000 rand extra. Don't buy the Porsche. I want to buy the Porsche. Don't buy the Porsche. After 36 months, we're close to 50,000 rand a month. At the 30-month mark, here's an example of someone with a 5 million rand bond. You put 36,000 rand as an additional payment into your 5 million rand bond, you'll own that house in less than 7 years. So I'm 40. At the age of 47, I can pay my first house off. Go buy another house. So I start renting the second house out and paying it off. At the age of 54, I've paid the second house off. I buy a third house. Now I'm renting out 2 houses. I pay the third house off at the age of 61. At the age of 61, I own 15 million rand in property assets. But what do? We say, no, let me just pay this bond off. Pay the bond off. I've got a nice 5 million rand house that I've paid off. I'm now 60. Finally paid my last payment. Get told by work, this is your last month. Thanks for the 40 years of work. You've been great. Maybe I get a nice watch from them and a party. Go home to my 5 million rand house. The kids are out the house. Fortunately, the financial burdens have fled the coop. And now I realize I've only put in so much investment. And I can't survive. I can't even afford to live in a 5 million rand house. So I sell the 5 million rand house. I move into a caravan. Now things are looking good. Right? This is what people do. We get to retirement, we realize we have to downscale our lifestyles to such an extent we become dependent on family, on children to survive. That's 98% of the population. That's everyone in the room, except 1 or 2 of us. This is what we have. This is what we're looking towards. This is what we need to change desperately now. It requires the decision 20 years before. If you're 40, you have to make the decision now to realize the fruits of your labor in 20 years' time. Do you have the maturity to make that decision? To say, no, I don't want the bigger car. No, I don't want to do this. No, I don't want to spend money on that. That's what it requires. There's no secret formula. At 48 months, you're probably close on about 70,000 rand a month. I mean, these numbers just start to look a little imaginary after a while. At 60 months, 5 years away, you could be earning 1 million rand in recurring income. Can you imagine that? Or no? There's a number that seems more realistic for you somewhere along the line, right? I say to you, oh, you can earn 1 million rand extra a year. But it starts at the 2,500 rand. Who looked at the 2,500 rand after 6 months and thought, it's not that much. I'd love it in my pocket right now, but to work for 6 months to get there, I don't know if it's worth it. It has to start like that. You have to start small. So this is all theory. You might be thinking, well, this is something the accountants came up with. It is. It's just an example. 3 plus 2 is just an example. You can become a wealth engineer, do less than 3 plus 2. You can be 0 plus 0. Guess how much money you're going to be earning after 60 months? 0. But if you want more, if you looked at the 2,500 rand after 6 months and said, no, I want more, you can do more. Do you think you can do 5 plus 5? Or 10 plus 10? Bring 10 people in a month. How does that change your numbers? Well, we've got wealth engineers that have not been happy with 3 plus 2, and they've decided to do more. Siazamlu is actually from King Williamstown. He joined in November, right? So after about 6 months, he was on 3,500 rand. But if you go listen to his testimony, he didn't believe in the business. He said, no, this is impossible. There's no ways they pay you 55 rand. It's a scam. But he was only doing it because one of his friends got him involved in it. And then eventually he went to another meeting when Patrick and Pumi went down to East London, and he went to see them. And then even after he saw Patrick and Pumi, he thought, ah. And then in his testimony, he says he had a meeting with himself in the mirror. Have you ever had a meeting with yourself in the mirror? Those are tough meetings, eh? Tough meetings. He had a meeting with himself. And he said, well, you better do something. And he decided, let me try this DuePoint thing. And he went out and spoke to a couple of friends, and they joined. He was amazed. And at the end of the month, we paid him a return. 165 rand. It started at 165 rand. But it changed his belief in the business completely. And in the space of a few months, he got to 3,500 rand a month. And in a single month, he jumped another 1,000 rand. Who gives themselves a 25% increase in a month? Can you ask your boss for a 25% increase? Right? We're begging for 7% annually. Try 25% a month. Go see what your boss says to you. Halfway through August, the debit orders we were running on a Mlu's channel were sitting already at 10,000 rand monthly. Songi from Kwamashu joined on the 26th of April. That was like yesterday. She's already sitting at 12,000 a month. How much cash do you have to have in the bank to get an income of 12,000 rand a month? 2 million? 2.5 million you need to have in the bank to derive an income of 12,000 rand a month. Sia from Aberdeen joined in February, also sitting at 12,000 rand a month. He went and bought himself a new Polo GT. He said it's one of the tools for business. It was a new car. I was like, I agree. Porsche 911, tools for business. Donnie's with us this morning. You can ask him if he's an actor, paid actor by DuePoint, or if he's a real person. He joined when we launched the business last year in February. He's been with us since day one, and he has worked consistently since day one. And his income has increased every single month. Isn't that crazy? Every single month for nearly 2 years, you give yourself a raise. Whether it's 5% or 20%. I promise you, in this business, you're going to start complaining when your monthly income's not going up by more than 10% a month. What position is that to be in when you can complain that you're not getting a 10% increase monthly? So we've got hundreds of wealth engineers that are building assets in this business. They have created for themselves an income that pays out every single month over and above their salaries. They have changed their future circumstance. Some have changed it a little bit. Some have changed it a massive amount. A massive amount. But the accountability lies with each individual. We have not held anyone's hand. We haven't put anyone as a test case to help them through the system. Everyone is treated the same. Everyone uses the same platform. The accountability lies with you. We've got people with matric, people with no matric, people with corporate experience, people with no corporate experience, people with degrees, people with no degrees. We've got housewives, we've got business owners, we've got doctors and accountants. It's the same for all of us. It just requires time. How difficult is it to go out and tell someone, I've got a business opportunity for you that doesn't require selling, just come look at the presentation. That's all you're doing. We're not trying to sell ice. We have this God-given ability to speak to other people. That's all that is required in this business. So this is the returns program. This is the way you earn money at DuePoint, through the returns program. But we've got something else. We've got something extra called the rewards program. The rewards program is the second way to benefit as a DuePoint wealth engineer. And then the rewards program, when you become a wealth engineer, we will give you something called XP when you start doing wealth engineer things, like coming to presentations, bringing guests with you, watching training, logging into your app. When you do all those things, we give you a few XP points, right? And you start collecting more and more of this XP, and your business will start to grow. And when those two things happen, we give you rewards along the way, right? So if you become a wealth engineer today, you will begin at rank 0. You see rank 0 is not on the screen because you don't get anything for being rank 0. You can say I'm a wealth engineer, but it doesn't mean anything. But the moment you become rank 1, and that's quite easy, you can get there over this weekend, you can get to rank 1 because you only need 1,000 XP. You need 4 products in your qualified channel. And when you do those 2 things, you become rank 1, and we give you an extra 55 Rand. Remember, you've already earned returns. If you've got 4 products in your channel, you would be earning 220 Rand a month at DuePoint. In the rewards program, when you get to rank 1, we give you extra 55 Rand. And then as you start to have more success in the business and you start ranking up, the rewards get bigger. 400 Rand, 1,500 Rand, 20,000 Rand, 50,000 Rand as you go. We give our wealth engineers tools that make them better wealth engineers, that make them more effective, the ability to build your business faster and more effectively. At rank 5, we give our wealth engineers this little lightning USB stick. It's a funny little device that plugs into anything. That's the beauty of it, right? Everyone's got different phones and tablets and everything. This little thing plugs into all of them. Doesn't matter what it is. Can be Apple devices, Android devices. I know some of us have got banana devices. Plugs into everything. So Patrick and Pumi have the ability to show people what DuePoint's all about, regardless of the device they have around them. At rank 7, we get these premium luxury business cards manufactured. There's no ink on these business cards. So it's not really printing. The cards get manufactured because the edges and the logo are gilded in gold. They're 4 times thicker than any other business card you used to. They have a black suede touch to them. Feels like a velvet, like a suede touch. Ask Donnie if you can touch his business card. He won't let you keep it, but you can feel it maybe. Right? Why would we spend so much money on business cards? To get 1 set manufactured costs about 24,000 Rand. But we try and get them manufactured in 2 sets, and then it costs us less. 25,000 Rand business card. You put a 25,000 Rand business card in someone's hand, and you say, I've got a financial opportunity for you. Before, if you had no business card, they would have said, whatever, one of those schemes. You put a gold emblazoned 25,000 Rand business card in someone's hand and say, I have a financial opportunity for you. The person goes, oh yes, what is it called? Tell me more. Business is about first impressions. At rank 9, DuePoint takes their rank 9 wealth engineers and above to an international conference every single year. Every single year, our rank 9s go with us. With their families, we fly business class to an international 5-star resort for 7 days. All expenses paid trip with DuePoint. Did I say every year? It's every year. So take a look. We are going to the Western Turtle Bay, Mauritius this year. This video you're about to watch, this is all Turtle Bay in Mauritius. You're welcome to go Google them. How does that look? How big is that swimming pool at that resort? You see how big that swimming pool was? Like a rugby field. And you might be thinking, oh, that just looks like a great holiday. Let me tell you, when you take your family on a business class trip every single year, it is not just a holiday anymore. Your children become liberated to opportunities that you would never have experienced at their age. Never. You change their outlook of life completely, their expectation of life completely. At rank 11, we spend R250,000 on a brand new car for the wealth engineer and give it to them. DuePoint buys you a car at rank 11. That happened in the parking lot a couple of months ago. Patrick and Pumi drove their brand new car out here. No debit order at the end of the month for them. Do you think they're a little closer to becoming completely debt-free? They know they're going on a business class holiday every single year, all expense paid trip. The car they're driving, they don't pay for. They're getting a return from DuePoint every single month. This is opportunity that is here for all of us to take. So this is through the rewards program. Do not become too focused on the rewards program, right? Remember the returns program that I described before. That's where the money lies, right? Not the rewards program. This is the fun that we'll have along the way. But the value lies in the returns program. So I have too many people coming to me afterwards. How do I get to rank 1? You'll get to rank 1. Focus on just bringing people to this business. That's all you have to focus on for now. Right? The rewards program will happen on its own because you get given points and all of that for anything that you're doing as a wealth engineer anyway. Focus on the returns always. There is a third way to benefit as a wealth engineer. We call it a wealth quest. You see the little pink WQ in the corner there? The wealth quest is a challenge that we issue to our wealth engineers every month. It's an incentive that we run every month. It's different every month. The reward is different that we attach to it every month. This month, September, is called Expand Your Empire. We challenge you to go find new wealth engineers in the province outside of yours. So if you can find 2 new wealth engineers in 2 provinces, in our case, outside of Gauteng, and you can help them get qualified and paid all in the month of September, I'll give you a brand new iPhone by the end of next month. Don't get excited by the wealth quest. You get excited about the prospect of creating a return. Right? Too many people get excited by the wealth quest. iPhone! Short term. We're thinking short term. Oh, next month I'm going to have an iPhone. We are here to build ourselves income on a recurring basis. That's the hard slog. That can get boring after a while. So hopefully the wealth quest keeps things interesting. Okay? So those are the 3 ways to benefit as wealth engineers. We get asked the question, how does DuePoint afford all of this? Traditional insurance companies will spend a lot of money on client acquisition through marketing and advertising. DuePoint doesn't do any marketing and advertising. You won't see our logo outside of this building. We don't spend a cent on marketing. We rely on our partners, on our wealth engineers, on you to go tell people about DuePoint. And so we don't spend the billions that the insurance industry spends on marketing and advertising every single year. We take that portion of our premium and we pay it to our wealth engineers in the form of returns and rewards and the wealth quests. Does that make sense? Okay. We have got 3 products. You are free to look at 1, 2, or 3. It is completely up to you. The products all have financial benefit, right? So they benefit our lives from a financial point of view. This is what we're trying to do here. This is the common theme of DuePoint. Product number 1 is called the Access Wealth Plan. It is made up of 2 products, an investment and an insurance component. The investment, well, the Access Wealth Plan costs 299 Rand a month. The first component, the first product is called a tax-free investment account, right? That's just with Sanlam. So 100 Rand will go into that. Of your 299, 100 Rand goes into that investment every single month. It is in your name. It's not a fixed deposit or a notice deposit. You can draw that investment out at any stage. At any stage, right? And you can contribute more to it. So you can contribute up to 2,500 Rand into your tax-free investment account if you want to take full advantage of it. But it starts at 100 Rand going into that investment. The second component, product number 2 in this plan, is an insurance component. You get 110,000 Rands worth of personal accident cover. So if you have this product, 299 Rand a month, 100 Rand goes into the investment, you get 110,000 Rand personal accident cover. You get killed in a car accident while you have this investment, we'll pay out your beneficiaries 110,000 Rand plus whatever's in your investment. That's product number 1, Access Wealth, the investment product. Product number 2 is strictly insurance. This is only insurance. It's called Wealth Guard. It is 274 per month, but this time you get 1.1 million Rands worth of personal accident cover. The beauty of personal accident cover, because it's not life insurance, we are not profiling your risk profile from a health point of view. We can offer this product to anyone regardless of your age, as long as you're above the age of 18. You can be 75, you can be diabetic, you can have cancer, you can still take out this product. It'll still only cost you 274, and you'll still get the full benefit of 1.1 million Rands worth of personal accident cover. So that's product number 2. Product number 3 is called the Wealth Points Buyers Club program. This is a program that aims to save us money on the money we spend every month anyway, right? So for 274 Rand a month, you get to enjoy the discounts that we've negotiated with the list of partners that you see over there. So we've got a whole bunch of retailers there: Shoprite, Checkers, Take A Lot, Vodri, Hirsch's, Yuppie Chef. How much money are we spending on groceries every month? A fortune. Right? It's becoming probably the most expensive item in your household at the moment is groceries. Crazy. ShopRite Checkers, you get 2.5% off your entire trolley at ShopRite Checkers. As much as you shop there, you can get that discount. We've got the Entertainer, 1.3 million Rands worth of vouchers. Buy one, get one free vouchers. Gives you access to restaurants around the country, hotels around the world, live events, spas for the ladies. Right? We've got always on data. You can get a gig for 36 Rand. They've got Wi-Fi, 2,500 Wi-Fi hotspots around the country. Some of them are super Wi-Fi. Eagle Ford, you'll get the best deal on any car, not just Fords, on any car at the Eagle Ford dealership. So there's a lot of value in this product. There's immediate value in this product if you're looking for immediate value. So those are the 3 products. If you have any questions, you're welcome to come chat to me. I remind you of the support that you get here as wealth engineers. Do not become a wealth engineer, disappear into the ether. Imagine you can do this on your own. Everything that we do here as staff is to support the wealth engineers. So find out what all the support is. We've got the live stream so that you can build your channels outside of the city you live in. The facilities are for you. You can use these facilities. We've got free Wi-Fi. You can use that as much as you want. You can drink all the free tea and coffee. You can have your meetings in our boardrooms. Come do business here. Make yourselves at home in these facilities. Right? Find out what all the support is and get plugged into everything that we have on offer. What is the decision we're making this morning? We started with a downer, our circumstance, right? The economy, debt, what our retirement was looking like. It was all horrible stuff. We are here to change that circumstance. We want to move from the 98% into the 2%. It is going to require sacrifice. If you are interested in this opportunity, I'm hoping that you've made that decision of how DuePoint fits into your life going forward. If you want to be a success, I'm hoping that you have long-term outlook. When you have long-term outlook, you can have a massive goal, right? A huge aspiration. What is it? To become completely debt-free? Is it to have 10 million Rand sitting in investment when you retire? Is it to get to 100,000 Rand a month? If you have short-term expectation, then you're like, I want 2,000 Rand after 1 month. Which is the wrong attitude. Because when you don't get to 2,000 Rand after 1 month, you quit and move along to the next thing. When you have a huge outlook, a long-term outlook of getting to 100,000 Rand a month, for example, after 10 years, let's say that's your outlook. Are you going to get frustrated in the first month or the second month when you're looking up at the horizon at 100,000 Rand a month? No, you're not. So have that big goal, that big dream. Let your imagination run wild. You want to be one of the people that get to 1 million Rand annually? You can tell your boss what you think of him when you get to 1 million Rand annually. You realize that? Maybe you got a nice boss, maybe you don't. But either way, you can tell him what you really think, or her what you really think, right? Because you don't care. 9.3 million unemployed. My flexi-time job is paying me 100,000 rand a month. This is the aspiration I have for you. This is why I'm in this business. 1, to make money. 2, to see people change their lives. I do not get more greater value out of this business as when someone comes to me and says, I'm earning this much, it has changed my life. The testimonies of the wealth engineers, we come up onto stage. The business is on fire after Tell All Tuesdays, right? Because people can associate with the success that other people are having. You can see it happening in front of your eyes. I want that for each and every person in this room. Remove the obstacle that's in front of you. Whatever excuse you have, we have made this business as low risk as possible so that you can just get into it and feel it out if you need to. We don't tie anyone into 12-month contracts or 24-month contracts. And if you don't want to be part of this business, you're free to go. So what's the risk of trying this? Try this. Give it a shot, right? But take your best swing. Not a half swing. Take your best swing at this and see whether it can change your life or not. We make joining very easy. We've got the Wi-Fi that's available to everyone. If you've got your own smartphone or tablet on you, jump onto it, jump onto our homepage. There's a big blue apply button. You click on that button, go through the application form. 7 minutes, you're a wealth engineer. But be careful, you're part of the 0+0 club once you become a wealth engineer. Right? You want to start earning as quickly as possible. But you now have the freedom to start speaking to people in 7 minutes' time. We walk out of this room in 10 minutes' time, you could be a wealth engineer, you could be phoning people already. Rank 1 by Monday. Earning money by the end of the month. Going for an iPhone by the end of next month. We've got merchandise. Please consider getting business cards. These are not profit centers for us. We don't make money out of the merchandise. These are tools to help you try to be more effective in building your channels of distribution. You have to be professional when you're dealing with your own business. The business cards are on display. The pricing is all on the counter. Get business cards as soon as you can. Memory sticks, got our video on there so you don't have to use data. We've got power banks, we've got notebooks, we've got fancy looking caps, pens, and that pin on the top left represents people that are earning at DuePoint. Once you start earning at DuePoint, you're allowed to buy one of those pins. Don't go ask advice from somebody who doesn't have a pin. Small hint, right? The bigger the pin, that's the person you want to be asking advice from. Okay. We are going down to Durban next weekend. I'm not sure what the ticket situation is. Last I heard was the tickets were sold out, but I think some naughty people booked too many tickets for themselves, so we're going to be taking those tickets away and reissuing them, so there might be another tranche of invitations going out. But we're there on Saturday. If you know anyone in KZN, make sure that they get to the presentation. Right? It ties in with this month's Wealth Quest. Expand your empire. KZN could be a new channel for you. Use this presentation to your advantage that we're doing. So Brendan and I are both going down. We've got a YouTube channel. All our video for the last year and a half, nearly 2 years of video is on here. Every testimonial, all the training, all the presentations, every format is on here. Go take a look at YouTube. Subscribe to it. It'll tell you every time we put a new video up and when the live stream's about to happen. Once you become a wealth engineer, download the mobile app because you can run your business from the palm of your hand. That little device will tell you if you're making money when you're sleeping. So at 6 o'clock in the morning when you wake up, you can check your app. People join this business between midnight and 6 in the morning. Do you know that? That always baffles me. I come into work, I can see the report of when people join. Midnight, 2 in the morning, 4 in the morning. I'm like, what are people doing? Who phones someone and says, hey, it's 4 in the morning, and the person probably thinks there's an emergency, and you say, I've got a financial opportunity for you. I know you have time, it's 4 in the morning. Right? Download the mobile app. You can run your business from it. Guys, I thank you for your time. I hope you have a wonderful weekend. For the new wealth engineers, rank 1 by Monday. By Monday, right? Okay, good luck.